I've been inspired lately because I've been watching a lot of near death experience videos and testimonies. Also, lately, I've been feeling a conviction to turn my life over to Jesus Christ and to be more of a faithful Christian. So, I know smoking, I'm doing great, right? Anyway, this happened in 2001. I was pregnant with my son, and to backtrack just a little bit, I've been having problems when I peed. It hurt really so bad for like more than a year. And also, I would have excruciating sharp pains on the right side on my pelvic area. And this happened for like maybe even up to 3 years. I would have an attack of some really bad excruciating pain, and they would diagnose me with a PID, which to my understanding was a pelvic inflammatory disease, which I'm like, saw the word disease, I'm like, what, disease? No, how can I have a disease? And then I'm thinking of the guy I was with, and I'm like, well, maybe I got a disease. But then they're like testing your blood and everything, and they're, yeah, no disease, but this is just like just a loosely used term. So anyway, it was undiagnosed for a long time. Thank you. And then in 2001, I got pregnant with Nicholas. And by the time I was, I guess maybe not even that pregnant, about 2 months pregnant, it hurt so bad to go pee that I was like, I felt like my fingernails would gouge grooves into the sink, the tiles of the sink surface. Every time I peed, it just hurt really that bad. And people with asthma will tell you that you take breathing for granted, and people that have urinary or kidney problems will tell you that you go pee for granted. And I hear prostates affects your peeing. So, and I'm going to Kaiser. Right around this time, I had gotten permanent benefits at my job at Kaiser. So I started seeing this doctor at Kaiser, and I'm telling them I'm having this pain and I'm pregnant. So they're kind of looking for it. And I go and I get all these ultrasounds and sonograms and everything, and nobody sees anything. And I'm drinking all this. They made me drink a bunch of water, and then they pressed on my stomach for like an hour, and nope, they don't see nothing. And they're looking at me like, oh, well, maybe it's all in her head. But like the next day I had an appointment, a prenatal appointment, and I was telling the lady, and she happened to be a nurse practitioner, not even a doctor. And they have this wand. They have this wand that they stick up in you, and it takes a sonogram picture from the inside. And she was looking around. She goes, I think I see something, on my right side. And so then they send me to the bigger facility that had a urologist. And he stuck a little camera thing up in me, and sure enough, there was a stone stuck in the ureter. I guess it's the ureter or the ureter. It's the tube right between the kidney and the bladder. And it had been there for God knows how long, and that was the pain, the stone going up and down, but never quite passing. And it seems like a long story, but I want you guys to know that it was like a lot of pain, so, and I was pregnant, so they couldn't just blast the stone. They had to go in and take it, and to do that, they had to give me a spinal. And the surgery went really good. But then after the surgery, I went home, and like instantly I could pee again, and everything was great. And they gave me like 20 codeines, and I guess the first day was okay because I was taking the codeines. I was still on whatever they had given me to make me numb. But as soon as all that started wearing off, like I guess the next day, bright lights started hurting my eyes really bad. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. So I asked my husband at the time to take me to the emergency room. So he takes me to the emergency room, and I seen a doctor, and the doctor, I was telling him what was wrong, and he was like, I can't stand you people, drug seeking and da-da-da-da-da. And I was still a fairly young mother, so I just like put my head down and went home and just was in pain all that day. By the next morning, I knew that something was really wrong. My head hurt. I don't even get headaches. I never get headaches. I'm really lucky like that. And besides the kidney stone, I'm a really healthy person. So I told him, you know what? I can't go back to that one. Take me to the one in Oakland, the big Kaiser. So he takes me to the big Kaiser, and I'm in so much pain at this point that he drops me off at the emergency room door, and I tell him, go ahead and go park the car. I'm going to go in and check in, because usually when you go to the emergency room, you're waiting over an hour to be seen.
Yeah.
So I remember walking in to the emergency room, and I was in so much pain, I couldn't even make it to the check-in. I remember I made it to the very first set of chairs, and I just sat down.
I don't want you playing in here because the box is already ripped.
And I'm sitting like this, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, I'm in so much pain, I can't even make it. And all of a sudden I hear a voice, and it's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And I look up like this, and right in front of me, I noticed like a doctor, or he had on scrubs. They were green, and even the shoes were covered by the little cloth things. It's freezing, so I gotta go in. Hold on, let's go. Really cold here, and I'm in California, but it's Northern California, so anyway. Let me set this up. So, he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I'm in so much pain. I had a procedure done here the other day, like 2 days ago, and I'm in so much pain. I don't know what's going on, but my head really hurts. And I guess I must have told him at that point that I had a spinal, and he's like, oh, I know what's wrong with you. Come on, follow me. So I get up and I follow him, not even noticing at this point that I hadn't even checked in. I didn't even check in. Who is this guy? A doctor? Doctors don't do that. I'm like from Richmond, California, which is by Oakland, California, which is next to San Francisco, California. And the people, they don't just do that because there's a lot of cuckoo crazies, Anyway, but I wasn't even thinking of this. So I follow him through some doors, and I go down some hallways, and everything's like just strangely really quiet, really dim. And I go follow him into these like really dimly lit rooms, and it looked like where you go to get x-rays done. But he led me into like an exam room, and I sat down on an exam table, and he's sitting there. And the funny thing, and I didn't even notice it until later, is that he had on his scrubs. He had on a little doctor's scrub hat. Everything was like all scrubs, like he was getting ready for surgery. And he goes, so when you had your spinal, and they took the needle out, the catheter out, the hole in your spine didn't close. And all the fluid has been leaking out of your, whatever, and it's going up into your cranium, and it's pressing on your brain, and there's nowhere for it to go, and it's causing all this pressure, and that's why you're in so much pain. And I was like, oh, wow. And I'm thinking, am I going to have to get brain surgery? What's going on? And he's like, yeah, you need a blood patch. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes, I'm going to take some of your blood, and I'm going to inject it into your spinal column, and it's going to coat your spinal cord, and any nicks and holes is going to get healed. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And he goes out, and he comes right back in, and he has this big old syringe, and he sticks it in my arm. And I remember saying, oh, be careful, I got really terrible veins. And he's like, oh, I got this. And he sticks it in, and he draws out some big old thing of blood. And I usually have to get the little Band-Aid, the little butterfly things, because I'm like really a baby about getting any kind of IVs and stuff. But he took the blood right out. And anybody who's had a spinal, they make you sit. at the edge on the table, and you have to bend over like this so they can get in between your vertebrae, and you have to sit really, really still. So he did that, and I did that, and I'm sitting there. He's pushing, and but I'd had a few. I'd had a. Let me see. Bubba. That was like my second. I think either my second or my third spinal. I'd had procedures. Maybe my second one. So I was used to that, the pushing and trying to find the just the right area. And he was really good, so I didn't even really trip on that. And then he pushes the blood in, and none of it really hurt at all. It wasn't comfortable, but it wasn't immensely uncomfortable. And you're thinking you're getting a needle into your spinal columns and all that, but it wasn't that bad. And by the time he finished, and I pulled my shirt down, my jacket down, and I turned back around, 95% of my headache was gone instantly. Thank you, doctor. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, okay, have a good day. All right, well, thank you. Bye. Oh yeah, I can find the exit. Okay, bye. Okay, and it's funny how things like that happen, because at that time I didn't put two and two together, and I don't remember when I put two and two together, but it wasn't for quite a while. But I never checked into that hospital. There's no record of me checking in that day. I didn't even know if a blood patch was a real thing until, I swear to God, a couple weeks ago. This happened in 2001 when I was pregnant with Nicholas, who was born in 2002. And I just finally Googled it the other day, and blood patch is, it's a real thing. And it's a procedure done after epidural and spinal, dural, post-dural. It's a real thing. And it really happened to me. And God and angels are real, and that's my angel story. I tell the story, sometimes people get mad, like my kids. Oh God, Mama. But I don't care. I love to share the story. I know that somebody's going to resonate with it. It's real. It happened. Okay, Jesus loves us all. Peace.